Fez here from Crypto Setups. Today I'm going to take you through OMM. I'm going to do an entire walkthrough on how you use OMM, lend assets, borrow assets, stake your OMM for more OMM rewards, how you provide liquidity on balance for the pairs that you can earn OMM tokens for, and finally I'll just close it off with how you can withdraw your assets that you have on OMM, remove them off OMM. And also I'll cover off how you can actually use OMM, the tokens, what you have staked, to delegate your ICX to PREPs you want to vote for, rather than it just defaulting to a set of pre-picked PREPs. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about or don't even know what OMM is a money market that's about to be launching on Icon. Please note for this tutorial, I am on one of the final versions that is on testnet, so this is not live on mainnet, so the prices and the rates and things like that, well, they're testnet versions, so it's probably a lot higher than what it will launch with. That said, just keep that in mind. So let's dive right in. As I said, it's a walkthrough, so we'll sign in, and the first thing you'll notice, you've got three options: IconX, Bridge, Ledger. It should, I'm hoping, should support HANA on launch as well, so time will tell. If you didn't know, Bridge is where they can sign up via an email, so you don't need a wallet or anything. It does all the wallet stuff in the background, but essentially it's just an email. But for today's tutorial, I'm going to walk you through the old-fashioned way via IconX. So again, on testnet, so nice whale stash. Okay, great. So you can see the first thing, I am logged in, and what we're looking at is the home screen, and by default it comes across to your overview, so which is the assets I have in my wallet is what we're seeing on screen here. If I go to the market overview, it will then show what's entirely going on the platform as an overview, and you can see over here that this is all the markets the platform supports, which is, if I click on all markets. So coming back here, first thing we want to do is I'm going to talk through what you can lend. So remember, the goal of this is you can lend your assets and earn interest, but at the same time you can borrow assets and you pay interest on borrowing, and that's how this rate is determined. So when we look here on Icon, if I lent ICX, it will give me a reward of 0.42%. But remember, as soon as you lend ICX on the platform, if it's ICX, it stakes it automatically, so you're earning your staking reward in the background as per the way SICX works. So ICX is probably not the best one to start off with. Let's look at Stably. You know, if you didn't know what this is USDS, the new stable coin that is going to be launching with the platform. You can actually kickstart and sign up via Stably and start transferring US dollars from a bank account or wire transfer, and it will mint USDS. That's what USDS is, and then you can, essentially supply it over here and earn. On testnet it's giving me 5%. On mainnet, let's see what happens, but essentially it's a great way for you to move your US dollars from a bank account onto OMM and earn the much higher interest rate you're going to get on OMM versus having it in a traditional bank account, which is cool. The platform will also launch with Icon USDS, USDC, not Icon, so it's iUSDC, which is moved across from Orbit Bridge. I'll do a separate tutorial. I have an old tutorial where I show you how to move DAI across. I'll create a new one where you can see how to migrate iUSDC, but essentially it's USDC that is migrated via Orbit Bridge onto Icon, hence the I is put on at the start of it, and that's how you identify all the assets that come across via Orbit Bridge. Okay, enough talking, let's dive straight into it. So I am going to supply some liquidity to these markets to show you how you can earn interest. So we'll start with ICX. I will supply 5,000 ICX. And you can see as soon as I'm supplying, it is already giving me an idea of how much I would earn based on the distributions, that is for supply and borrow and liquidity providing. Based on 5,000 ICX, I will get this much interest, but I'll also get that in the OMM distribution. So I'll click on supply, and you can see over here 5,000, and then it is saying that the ICX will be staked as SICX. So once you supply ICX, when you go to withdraw it, it will give you an option to either withdraw ICX, where you have to wait this 7 days so it unstakes the ICX, or you can get SICX right away. So if you've used balanced, it's the same as, it's not a new SICX, it's the same token, so it works the same way. There we go. Excellent. So as soon as I have supplied, all of a sudden it's giving me my performance, which I can then switch to weekly, monthly, yearly to see what I would earn. I'm going to click on my markets. It was on all markets. So over here I have, you can see supplied 5,000 ICX. This is the interest I'm earning. It's not the best one to show you how much interest, so we'll supply another asset as well. Looking at this screen, currently there's risk. You can see it tells you over here that it tells you where to keep, because remember what you supply, and then it will allow you to borrow at a certain amount based on what you supply. And if the price drops of whatever asset you've supplied to what you're borrowing against, there could be liquidation risks. It's just like in balanced, you know how you mint BNUSD, money markets work the same way. So make sure you have supplied enough, or when you're borrowing, you are borrowing in a risk-free manner, whereas being as safe as possible. So that's as simple as that. ICX is added. I have a fair bit of stablecoin, testnet, USDC. Oh, there's too many stablecoins. I'll just supply 500 here. Ooh, careful of that 1,000. And you can see right away again, confirm. Great. Okay, so this is a great example. I've supplied $500 and I'm earning 17% on that $500. Okay, so yeah, and I didn't focus on this, but you can see daily interest. I'm earning 24 cents on that. Anyway, I'd never get that anywhere else. This is testnet though. Now, the other thing I can do, now that I've supplied, I can borrow. So this may be a case of, I have some money, I want to earn interest, but I also want to, you know, I'll borrow some ICX. I think it's a good time to borrow some ICX. So now that I've supplied a bit of assets, I can come to the borrow area, and I won't borrow any, but you can see how everything's changing. So if I borrowed, and it tells you there, so it's letting me borrow, and it's borrowing, see if you notice SICX, based on what I have assets I've supplied, it's letting me borrow. So let's bring this down. I want to keep it safe. I'm not going to go crazy here. Yep, that's okay. You can see again, I am borrowing, and you could see this is how much, because again, to borrow ICX, it's much cheaper. Only 2% I pay on a borrowing rate, and you can see that based on what I've supplied, I'm earning far more interest than the interest I'd have to pay. And in this case, for borrowing, I'm also earning OMM tokens. Great. So this tutorial isn't about strategies for yield farming, but you can see that people will try to essentially lend assets to earn interest, and also borrow assets to kind of mine the token as much as they can. But I'll stop there because, again, that's not what it's about. So I'll hit confirm. Excellent. So you can already see it's giving me my performance, what interest, how much, and what OMM tokens I'm getting based on what I've supplied and borrowed. And it's got a bit of a risk over here. You can tell that if I get close to here, it will start to liquidate what I have supplied to pay off my debt, the loan that I've taken. So enough about that. I think that covers it fairly well. Just looking around up here, you can see that at the moment, all these, this is my profile, what I've supplied versus what I've borrowed. This is the interest rate versus what an interest rate I have on my borrowed assets. But over here, you'll notice that everything is ticked off for OMM. Not OMM. Lisa would kill me. For OMM, it is currently at 77 cents, and it's not calculating any of those percentages. And just to give you an idea, so you can see once I flick it on, everything kind of goes crazy, because essentially it's counting the distribution into your rates, which is which is cool to know the difference and separate what's the real rate, because these rates currently are based on pure supply and demand, not inflated by token distributions, which is always really good to know to get an idea of what the real rates are in the ecosystem. Okay, so next, let's go to rewards. So you've been supplying, you've been earning OM tokens. How do you claim them? Well, let's head on over to rewards, and you can see already I had done a claim before, but there's some OM tokens for me to claim. So let's do that. And done. So you can see it's gone, and I have a bit of a balance over here. This is where you stake. This is the next thing we're going to do, and this is the liquidity pool. So this is currently the liquidity pools you can supply to earn more OM tokens, and I'm going to do that in a moment. But what we'll first do before we go across to balance and add liquidity is I want to show you how you can stake your tokens. Now, if you've never done it, instead of a just stake, it'll say stake. You just click and let's stake. I don't have a lot of testnet OM, so I just want to show you for this tutorial. Let's make that. I'm staking, sorry. So to call out, this is your staked amount. This is what it's telling you you will earn OM for what you've staked. The OM you will earn based on what you've staked. So again, testnet version, so these figures are showing ridiculous rates. I don't think it'll be this crazy on mainnet. However, it is great to see right from the start there is incentive. Apart from voting and a few other things, there's actually incentive to stake your OM on the platform so that you earn more off the governance token. So it's great to see it's kicking off this way. So I'll put 100, hit confirm. You can see, as always, even with balance, there's 3 days to unstake, so always remember that. Great, so you can see it's gone up, daily rewards, and I can keep checking back and slowly keep claiming. Next thing, let's check out the vote tab. What's different about this? Okay, so you can see I have claimed over here, and as in I have voted. And what this is currently telling me, off my 101, 1 OM currently redirects 3.26 ICX. What does that mean? Essentially what you have staked, you can then adjust who you want based on your stakage, which PREPs you want the ICX to get voted to, which is cool. It's giving us a choice. So let's check it out here. I'm going to leave this because I want to, again, use my OM for the liquidity pools. But over here, this is what I've staked, and this is what you can see. I can adjust over here, add a different PREP. Rhizome is in here, so let's do a testing PREP. Oh, Gio's got there, so we'll add him in, and great. And you can see it's automatically splitting up the allocations based on who we have. I'll add one more. Nope. Great thing to test out. So it lets me pick between 5. So if I drop it, it automatically shifts the percentages. So you can vote for 5 PREPs in there, and I'll just throw in one more and then save. So it automatically tells you, we'll click vote. Done. So not only do you get, for staking, do you get staking rewards for actually staking OM? This is, you don't have to put anything into liquidity or risk impermanent loss, any of that stuff, just by staking OM. And at the same time, you can reallocate based on your stakage. You can pick where the ICX gets divided to, which 5 PREPs it gets divided to, sent to. So that's great. Now, let's come back to, well, let's leave it, let's come back to rewards, and let's talk about pools, liquidity pools. So these are the pools currently that are part of the OM distribution, and what you need to do is head on over to balance. Now I'm going to head on over to balance. Again, it is testnet version of balance, so it's not going to be live. Some of the tokens, as you see how it says OM6, it won't obviously be like that on mainnet, but this is a testnet. So heading on over to testnet, just like you would supply liquidity, you will just notice new pairs. In this case, balance doesn't get distributed to these pairs. It is OM that gets sent to these pairs. So let's add a bit of liquidity here, Um, so the three pairs that we have is OM and staked ICX, and then the two stable coins that are launching with OM, which is USDS and USDC. So let's put some OM and USDC, and I'll just quickly supply it. So just like with balance, you need to do the two and then do the final supply. Great. I'm in the pool. So once this is done on balance, the final step, and you need to do this to ensure you get the distribution, the OM distribution that you're entitled to for supplying liquidity, you have to head back over to OM. Okay, so yep, you head on over, rewards page, liquidity pools. Now, it's not under your pools because you haven't put anything there. You click on all pools. Now, if you recall, I added to the OM IUSDC. So when I click on that, you can see straight away, but I didn't add to any other pairs, hence there's no options. So click on it and adjust your stake. Make sure you add it all. Why wouldn't you add it all? Well, if you leave half, you're only going to get essentially half of the reward that you would get, that should be coming to you. So make sure you put all your LPs there, stake it, and done. So you can see now, if I go straight away, yeah, I wish I was earning that much. Maybe why testnet, remember. So based on the distribution, you would get allocated. So at the moment, to finish that off, my train of thought is if you go to home, now I am earning for lending, ICX and USDC, IUSDC. I'm also getting a bit of OM for borrowing on USDC. Actually, sorry, I'm borrowing on ICX. And I am also earning by staking, I am earning OM. And finally, I have added liquidity into, you can see over here, I've added liquidity into on balance on the OM and IUSDC pair, and I am now earning rewards for that as well. So that has kind of covered the entire scenario of how you use the site, what you can do with it, all the ways you can earn rewards, and how you can pick your particular PREP for your staked OM where you want the ICX to be directed to your top 5 PREPs that you want to pick. If there's anything I have missed, I'll cover it off in future iterations as we see the platform evolve. However, at the start, you can see why people have been saying get your USDS or IUSDC ready, because the rates are based on supply and demand. So if you can supply some of that early on, you should, and there's a bit of borrowing interest, you should be able to reap just the natural repercussions of a lending and borrowing market. But also once the distributions kick off, and remember there's a bit of a delayed distribution process after the first 2 days, then on day 8 or 9, and there's the article around that which I'll put into the tutorial notes that you can check out of how that is going to launch. But this is how you use the site. Everything's been covered. The only other step that I have not covered is if you wanted to remove your assets, all you literally have to do is adjust it down. So in this example, I'll quickly go through. We'll put this, pay back all the debt. So what I'm doing is, remember, I borrowed ICX. Now I want to remove the ICX I've supplied completely, but to do that, I want to pay back my debt before I do it. So I've paid it back, and the next step is I've still got 5,000 ICX supplied, which is SICX, and I want to withdraw that now. So when I go to withdraw it, you go adjust, you slide it down, and then it pulls it all back, and you hit confirm. Now this is where you get your option to go, okay, do you want, because remember when you supplied it, it staked it, and stakes it as SICX. So when you're going to withdraw it, it gives you two options. Is you can wait the 7 days, currently, if that's what the process is to unstake ICX, or you can just keep SICX. Now, in this video, if you looked and gone, oh, but I supplied 5,000, why am I getting 4,790 SICX? If you aren't familiar with this already, SICX is staked ICX. It goes up in value every day. So it will always give you less. Let me start that again. This amount of SICX, if you unstake, it will give you 5,000 ICX. However, if I hold this for 4,780 SICX in my wallet for, say, a year, and it's at 10% interest, when I go to unstake it, I'll get far more than the 5,000 ICX because it's gone up in value every day. The staking rewards are built into that SICX, and that's why it grows in value every day. So in this case, I can withdraw it as SICX. That's it, done. So that's the whole process. So you'd follow that for anything. If you wanted to supply liquidity to the other pools, exactly what I've shown you, you just do it with those other pairs, and make sure if you're supplying liquidity on balance, as called out a few times, but reiterating, you add the LP back on OM to make sure you get those rewards. And as always, every day you can then check, just like you would balance C, you can see block by block, I'm assuming here that these awards are building up, and I can claim my rewards and then stake it to earn more rewards. So once again, thanks for watching. Hopefully this has helped, kind of, if you're worried about all these extra things coming in, help to piece it all together, how you can do things. Hopefully my explanations have given you a few ideas on what you can do to maximize mining the OM token, if that's your game plan, or just overall, it's great that Icon will now have a way for stable coins to earn interest via this money market. And you may be wondering why BNUSD isn't on there. Well, I believe that'll be one of the first votes that kicks off via the governance process to kind of get that asset on here and create a money market for it. Then we're in business. So once again, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share this around, and until next time, take care everyone.